short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
The United States and Israel struck targets in Iran.
The United States and Israel have acted without engaging the United Nations or consulting allies, including Canada. So where to from here?
The world economy is about to go into one of the biggest crises in the modern period, driven by the complete collapse of oil supplies coming from this region, a predictable consequence of the Israeli-U.S. aggression.
The United States of America is walking blindly into the most catastrophic geopolitical trap of the 21st century.
It's 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand is visiting Sarajevo in what is today Bosnia and Herzegovina. He's doing this political tour thing, waving, smiling, the usual. Nothing dramatic, nothing that screams world-changing moment. But then, yeah, 2 shots. He's dead. And suddenly Europe is confused. Because this wasn't supposed to be a big deal. Assassinations happened, tensions existed, but a world war? No one thought that was on the menu. But here's the thing. Europe at this time was basically a giant mousetrap. Every country had promised to defend some other country, and those countries had promised to defend other countries. So Austria-Hungary blames Serbia, Russia steps in for Serbia, Germany steps in for Austria-Hungary, France steps in for Russia, and suddenly it's like, oh no, we can't stop this now. One event, one moment, and the whole system collapses. Okay, so hold that thought, because now we're going to jump, like aggressively, into the present. Different century, different region, but the same vibe. This is the Strait of Hormuz. It looks tiny, right? Like a little crack between Iran and Oman. But this crack? This is where a massive chunk of the world's oil has to squeeze through every single day. Tankers, warships, cargo vessels, all funneling through this narrow passage. And sitting right next to it is Iran. Iran knows exactly how important this place is. The US knows, Saudi Arabia knows, China knows, everyone knows. Because if this strait closes, even for a week, the global economy freaks out. Oil prices spike, shipping routes scramble, countries panic. This is how a regional problem becomes a global one. And lately, Iran has been doing this thing where they seize tankers, or harass them, or shadow them with small, fast boats. Meanwhile, the US sends warships. Israel watches closely. Saudi Arabia and the UAE build up defenses. It's like everyone's standing in a small room holding matches. Remember World War I? It wasn't big countries wanting a big war. It was alliances, promises, tripwires. One spark, and suddenly everyone's dragged in. The Middle East today has its own version of that. Iran has partners. The US has allies. Israel has red lines. Saudi Arabia has fears. It's a web. A messy one, and webs don't break cleanly. But there's another pattern here too, the slow one. In the 1930s, Germany kept pushing boundaries, small moves, little tests, and the world kept saying, let's not escalate, let's wait, maybe it'll calm down. It didn't. Today, in the Middle East, we're seeing something similar, small escalations, small retaliations, small warnings. And everyone's hoping it doesn't add up to something bigger. Let's zoom back out. This tiny strait is basically the throat of the global energy system. If it gets squeezed, even a little, the whole world feels it. Japan, South Korea, India, China, Europe. Even countries that don't directly rely on this region still get hit, because markets are connected. This is how conflicts spread without armies even crossing borders. Today's alliances aren't as formal as 1914, but they're just as real. The US has defense agreements across the region. Iran has influence and partnerships beyond its borders. Israel operates with its own set of red lines. Russia and China have strategic interests. So if something goes wrong in the Strait of Hormuz, it doesn't stay there. It ripples outward, fast. Here's the strange part. We're living in a world where escalation happens in 2 speeds at once. A drone gets shot down, that's fast. Sanctions, proxy conflicts, political pressure, that's slow. It's like watching a storm form while lightning strikes right next to you. Both matter. Both can lead to something bigger. And underneath all of this are people, millions of them. People who don't care about strategy or geopolitics. People who just want normal lives. People who would be the first to suffer if things go wrong. Wars don't start because ordinary people want them. They start because systems fail. So here we are, a narrow strait, a powerful country, a global economy built on fragile roots, a network of alliances, a history full of warnings, and a world that feels tense. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just tight, like a rope being pulled slowly, quietly. If history teaches us anything, it's this. World wars don't start with announcements. They start with patterns, with small events that feel manageable, with leaders who think they can control the situation. The assassination in Sarajevo didn't look like the start of World War I. The early moves in the 1930s didn't look like the start of World War II. And today, the tensions in the Middle East, especially around the Strait of Hormuz, don't look like the start of anything massive. But patterns matter. World wars don't start with announcements, they start with patterns. And the real question is, are we watching one form right now?